Exodus: Gods and Kings is directed by Ridley Scott and stars Christian Bale, Joel Edgerton, Aaron Paul, and Ben Kingsley. And this is the story about Moses. And in this adaptation, he is the adopted son of the current pharaoh and his brother with the next in line, Ramses. And pretty much everything goes on like the original story, but not. We'll get into that later. What do I like about this movie? There's only a few things I like about it. Ridley Scott's visual direction is, as usual, pretty good. That is to be expected. I mean, like, every movie you see, no matter how good or bad it is, it looks beautiful. Some of the battle sequences and action scenes are pretty good. I mean, Ridley Scott has also done that pretty well in both Kingdom of Heaven and Gladiator. There's no terrible acting in this movie, and all the cast, they do pretty well as far as I can tell. What do I not like about this movie? I hate this movie. Okay, hate is a strong word. I don't like this movie on two levels. One, as an adaptation of the source material, and two, as a standalone movie disregarding the source material, it's still a bad movie. Let's take the source material. The source material, the story of Exodus is definitely in nature very religious, and definitely that might irk some people, but I still believe that you can still do a faithful adaptation without being preachy. The problem is Ridley Scott literally takes that and puts it on its head. He basically makes this an agnostic/atheist take and makes it preachy to the atheist/agnostic crowd. He basically makes Moses a complete, like, agnostic. And, like, he's always doubting if God exists or not. And there's a lot of questions about, oh, is God good or everything. And that just, like, that does not work because Moses is, in the book, a man of faith. And you're completely taking this character and completely turning it on its head. There's a lot of good stuff about Moses, at least in terms of character development, in the original source material. He has a lot of doubts about himself. He angers God a lot. He angers God a lot that God almost killed him once. Moses makes his brothers speak for him because of how much he hates public speaking. And I think that would be interesting to see in a movie. There's a lot you can do with the character without it, being completely different from the source material. It gets really annoying because it's really obvious that Ridley Scott is pretty much just saying, this is what I think Exodus would have been in real life with these sort of, viewpoints and everything, which does not make sense because agnosticism and atheism wasn't a big thing back then in, approximately, 1500 BC. That wasn't a thing. So as an adaptation of the source material, it doesn't work. Okay, here's a part that I wasn't that angry with, to be honest, the whole plagues being naturally occurring. That was okay. The only problem is, and this leads to another problem I had with this adaptation. Moses basically becomes sidelined, and God does everything. And this also doesn't make sense because, again, Moses is the messenger. He speaks for God, and in this movie, God just says, okay, I don't think you're doing well. I'm just going to do all this stuff, and you're not going to be a part of it. In which, yeah, but, if you look at the source of material, there's a reason why he chose Moses, and if you look at this logically, in this adaptation, God wouldn't need Moses because he literally does nothing. Honestly, he does nothing. There's a lot of other problems I have with the adaptation, but these are just a few. Okay, disregard that. As a movie into itself, is it a good movie? Same answer. No, it's still not a good movie. Why? Because the characters, they're not convincing. Take Ramses, the future pharaoh. He goes from being Moses' closest, friend and brother to going, I am gonna kill Moses because I am power hungry and I am evil, and that comes out literally out of nowhere. He just becomes evil. Doesn't work. Joshua, and Aaron, his brother and his future compatriot, they literally have zero role in this. And there's no reason for them to show up on screen. like, there's Moses as a character, and all the other characters for that matter, do not have compelling arcs. Going back to the whole Moses being an agnostic thing, he still isn't agnostic through this. They set up a lot of questions about his faith and whether or not he believes in a God or anything. But if you track his arc, he doesn't change at all. Like, if he wanted to do that story, that kind of story of faith and everything, exploring faith, that's fine. But put him at the end of his journey. Moses should be at a different point than he was in the beginning. And if you look at it, he's still in the same place, A, and B, it does not answer all these questions. And even if you were to say that he was in a different place, if you're going to argue that, it's not convincing. Obviously, I don't like this movie. There are so many other things that are really, really, really bad with this movie, and I can't recommend this. And if you are just a casual moviegoer who wants to watch this, honestly, I think you'll also probably be bored. There's nothing here for anyone. If you're a historian, this is historically accurate. If you're like religious or study the Bible, this is gonna like anger you because it completely takes the story and puts it on its head for no reason. And it's just a bad movie in general. I will give this movie a 4 out of 10. As I said before, there were some things that were semi-promising in like the first 40 minutes, but then it completely derails in the sense that, this relationship between Moses and Ramses, they just completely throw it away. Yeah, and again, visually, it's fine. The performances are fine. But again, at the end of the day, you're either going to snooze at it, or you're going to be angry at it for being a bad movie or for, screwing the source material. Anyways, have you seen Exodus, Gods, and Kings? From this review, I probably recommend you not to, but if you have, let me know what you think about it. Am I being too harsh on this movie? Yeah, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.